So we are back in Ostranauts, and today I've got a really interesting video coming up. We are going to try and survive this ship, which the game itself describes as a coffin. This is basically a shipping container that has some thrusters on it. It's got a door, but it doesn't actually have a proper airlock, and it also doesn't have an oxygen supply. So the air that's currently in here is basically, I assume, the air that you get while you're still docked, but as soon as you set out, and we've just set out here, we've got the oxygen and the nitrogen that's currently in the air just because it was there when we started. But as soon as we open up this door, we're going to lose that. And I'm going to see if we can basically do something with this. The advantage of this ship is that the payment that you have to make is a lot lower than some of the other ships. And the reason I wanted to try this out is because the previous video that I did, the developer actually commented and he mentioned that these new ships are now survivable. So I definitely wanted to check this out. And I think this is really interesting because I mentioned before that if you have something that is a complete death trap, then that's not particularly interesting. But if you have something that is very difficult to survive, but it is survivable, that becomes a really interesting, just something to try from a gameplay perspective. So we're going to go ahead and look at what we can do here. Now, here's the tricky bit. Most of these derelicts that we can see around here, the moment that we open our door and we open the airlock door on the other side, if there's any breach within that derelict, that means that we're basically instantly going to lose all of our oxygen. So you kind of get one shot at it because the only oxygen you'll have left is whatever you've already got captured within the pressure suit. So that definitely creates a big sort of risk-reward scenario here. Now, the one thing that we can do is we can always fly back to K-Leg. And this creates another interesting dynamic because I mentioned last time that the derelicts that are further out, so these ones sort of on the outer edges, those generally tend to have better rewards, or they're in better shape, because the lore behind this is that the ones closest to K-Leg would have been stripped out already and people will only get to the other ones last. So technically it's better to go there, and I'm more likely to get a ship that I can salvage on that side. But the downside is if I fly all the way out there and I can't find any way to get oxygen into a pressurized environment, then I'm kind of going to have a big issue. So I want to stay in range of K-Leg here, and maybe we'll just try for one of these ones that are a little bit closer, or maybe we can go a little bit further out. I think we can go up to this one maybe, and hopefully, I mean, at the very least, if I can just get something, just like an oxygen bottle or something, that would already be a good find. So let's get going now. If you look at this, by the way, I'm not sure if I've explained this before, but when this gets to around 0 degrees, or I guess 360 degrees, that means you are right on target for the whatever target you set for yourself. So there it is, about on 360. So we'll accelerate from here. Now, because this is so small, it can actually go pretty fast with relatively little propellant. And right now, we're not in that much of a rush because we still have oxygen. But if we don't get what we're looking for in this ship and we need to make another trip, then we're probably going to go really quick because, as I said, we're only going to have the air that will be trapped in the pressure suits at that point. Okay, so we're getting into range here. Just going to slow down a little bit while we sort out the docking. And we seem to be more or less on target. Okay, so we are docked. Now, it's interesting, it's not giving me the splash screen to mention that this is the first derelict. I have no idea why. Let's just get the flashlights sorted out. So we're gonna sort this out, and then of course I need the pressure suit. So this is kind of where the clock's going to start ticking now, because I have to just hope that there is something on the other side of this. We're not... Oh, we are losing atmosphere. Hold on, is there nothing there? I'm not sure if I've missed something here. Let me try and figure out what's going on. I mean, I guess that does mean we're going to make a trip back to K-Leg, but we've definitely docked to something. Or we're not? It's very strange. I really don't understand what's happened here. Let's try to get back towards this. I mean, I was sure that we did dock. I'm hoping that this is maybe just a bug or something, or I did something wrong. If you do know what I did wrong, let me know in the comments, but we're going to try this one more time. Okay, so we are clearly docked here to something. Let's switch back. So this is some sort of survey, I don't know, ship, something. Oh, here we've got the splash screen now. I must have done something wrong on the previous run, but the bad news is I have just wasted my oxygen for, well, I guess not no reason, because we are going to get on board here. And the big question is now, well, these ships that are close by really are bare bones. There doesn't seem to be anything useful here. We're going to patch this little bit up so that we can walk across here. I don't see any useful materials inside. I mean, the one thing that I do want to get, but I can literally get that on any ship, is why can't I walk across here? It's is that because is this floor damaged as well? Yes, it is. So we need to patch that. I'm sort of doing this hoping that this will be worth it, that I will get somewhere within the ship and at least there will be something useful on board. But it's hard to say for sure. So far it doesn't look like it. Oh, there's some more hull patches here. No, don't read it. You can actually read it to... Oh, we can pick up the whole stack. So you can read it to just... There's some description about what it does and a little bit of flavor text, I guess. No, so this ship is pretty useless, I guess. I am going to take a piece of wall because I'm going to need to bolt that. Let's just take this and uninstall it. I want to bolt this inside of my ship so that we can mount the oxygen to it. Let's go. So that's pretty much done. We should eat something as well. I wonder if I can take these patches back. Well, I don't want to waste the time doing that, so we'll just leave it here. We got some extras anyway. And now the question is, do I want to risk trying to go to another derelict? But I don't really think I can do that because this pressure suit does not have a lot of oxygen in it. So we're going to go ahead and undock. So that's done. Just move away a little bit. And we're going to try to make our way back to K-Leg. I don't understand though, because I didn't... Yeah, I'm still fairly close, I guess. Maybe we'll go for one of the ones up there next. See if that works. So I might skip a little bit of time here, and I'll be back once we arrive at K-Leg. Alright, so we are approaching K-Leg, and we're basically just going to use this to get oxygen back onto the ship. And it does unfortunately mean, so we are going to have to pay docking fees now. Something I didn't show last time that you may not have seen before is how this works. So you can do some refills, recharge your battery and so on when you're at K-Leg now. Don't know why the sensor sometimes goes back on even after you've shut it off. I don't know if it's when you're approaching too fast or something. But okay, so this is fine. We are docked. Let's just make sure, yeah, everything's as it should be. Again, we should be getting a splash screen here, I think. Maybe it's as soon as we open this door. Yeah, pretty much. So I'm not going to read all of this here again, it's just some flavor text in terms of the lore and so on. But let's see, we do have some oxygen coming through now, so we can switch back, get out of the pressure suit. It is actually important that you do this because, of course, the pressure suit is airtight. So if you want to refill it, you basically just have to take off your helmet and put it back on again. Now, something that we could do, if we and maybe we'll do that if we don't get sorted right away, is we could just take K-Leg's oxygen. But because that would require me creating a hole here, that'll probably kill everybody here. So I won't do that for now. We'll try not to be evil. Let's have a look. So what do we need? I can't put any of this up. So the way this works is you'll see that there's a fee here. This is basically the dockage fee that you have to pay, and then there's a couple of other things. So we can charge up the power, and what else do we have? We do have a nitrogen tank. So this is basically your propellant that we're refilling here. The rest of it's all fine, so we'll pay a little bit for this. So now we are allowed to undock. If you don't do that, you can't actually undock. And let's just see, can I buy stuff here? What have they got? So there's an EVA helmet, which doesn't really help us with an EVA suit, unless we have an EVA suit. Anything else? Not really, nothing that I'm going to use right now, unless we can actually get an O2 bottle. I'm not that interested, so we're going to have to try and go to another ship. Alright, so let's go ahead and undock, just get permission. So this, basically they wouldn't grant us permission if we didn't pay those fees, but we did. Why? Okay, I'm not sure. We undocked in a weird way here, but it's fine. So we're going to choose one that's a little bit further out. And that should be okay. I think we're more or less on the right direction. So I'm just going to try to make sure that we clear this, and then we'll fly on over there. Okay, so I'm currently approaching at a huge amount of speed. It's just that the RCS remass isn't really a problem, so I'm not too bothered about wasting a little bit of this. And the game is still currently in a place that there isn't that much to do once you've found and fixed up a derelict, so I am not too worried about the long game here. Let's just get back to the docking menu and line ourselves up properly. Okay, I think, so this is a pleasure yacht. This will be interesting. The big question is, does it have oxygen on it? Because again, or, you know, if the ship is properly sealed, but generally that's not the case. So it's actually extremely unlikely that that would happen. Let's see. So you should expect to see this depressurizing the moment we open, and that is happening. I mean, I don't really think, oh, but it's not completely depressurizing. I think we may have just, yeah, I think we're okay here. There's still some O2 in here. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but I'm just going to go ahead and close this airlock again. We'll close both of these doors, but we're going to lose a little bit more once we go back in, but this is already a good sign. Door is closed. We'll pry it open. I did get the crowbar. You should always get the crowbar because it is pretty much essential. Now it does look, so we may have gotten lucky here in that maybe I can just pressurize this ship, unless it's already airtight. No, you see, so we do have some walls that are breached over here. We need to patch these up. I think this is fine. So the question is, can we, this floor is fine. Can we get this thing sorted out before my oxygen supply runs out? I've got one of two options. I can either install the oxygen bottle onto my other ship and just use that as a temporary supply, which is something that I should maybe consider doing here, because I think any other solution might take me a little bit longer. Now the thing is, I know that if you're only breathing oxygen, that can lead to oxygen toxicity. I don't know if that's implemented in the game, that's the way it works in real life, but the thing is that it actually takes an extremely long time for that to happen. I mean, I'm not a doctor and I could be wrong, but as far as I know, that you can breathe pure oxygen for hours, maybe even a day. I mean, you definitely get some lung damage, but it's not going to kill you immediately, at least. So it's not unrealistic that you can do that in the game. I may need to uninstall this door. I want to get to these tanks. We're going to go ahead and uninstall this. So far it's looking pretty good. So we've got batteries. It doesn't have a reactor, but you don't really need a reactor. You can always just go and recharge your batteries back at K-Leg. There's some cables missing here, it seems, that we'll have to reinstall, so we'll need to sort that out. And I do kind of think, okay, so we have an oxygen bottle there. So temporarily, we're going to get our air from somewhere else. This door is closed as well. And again, I can't just pry it open. I can't open it up either. So I do need to uninstall this door as well. Unfortunately, uninstalling doors does take longer than prying them open. And we really don't have a lot of time, which is, we're sort of constantly against time right now. But any of these doors open, at least I can pry this one open. That's good. See, that's much faster. Oh, that's not oxygen, that's nitrogen, which is not what we want. That's oxygen. So I want to get in here. There's a lot of extra oxygen in here. This is quite a big ship. So we're basically going to borrow these systems. So I'm going to take this O2 canister and uninstall it. And now it is a race against time. To get this stuff off in time. Uninstalling stuff does take quite a while, so we'll speed up time for this, but we don't want to waste any additional time because it may end up being a life and death situation. So, and then the air pump itself, we do need one of those as well because we don't have that on our ship either. We'll go ahead and uninstall this. Then, for some reason we're feeling like a celebrity. Read at the bottom here. So I'm going to put this into my inventory as well as the O2 bottle. And this will mean that I at least will have one place that I can go back to get oxygen. As I said, it's going to be pure oxygen in this case. So we'll seal this up again. And why can't I close this door? Oh, it doesn't have power, that's why. Okay. That's fine. So open up the airlocks. This is going to vent out the remaining air. But hopefully if what I'm trying to do here works, that shouldn't be a problem. So we start with the wall. Now I think this is only really going to work one way, which is if I put the wall over here. At least I hope it's going to work. It may not, and in that case we're probably going to die. But, okay, then we need the air pump. Now let me think. It's probably best to rotate this so that I can put the bottle at the bottom, because at least that way I can access it fairly easily. So we're going to do that. This does take quite a while to install as well. But we're getting closer. I'm starting to feel optimistic that this might actually work. Oh, there's one more thing actually. So I need to install the bottle, but then I also need to give this power because the way I've just installed this, I think I'm going to need another conduit that comes down here. Okay, so that's the O2 bottle taken care of. And now we just need to install one of these. Now I don't have any way to, oh there, we are getting the O2 warning. That really, once you start getting that, you really do not have a lot of time. So we are going to make this just if we do make it. We haven't started feeling the effects yet, or at least it hasn't shown up at the bottom here. But obviously, yeah, here we can see, so he's suffering from hypoxia now. Let's have a look, air pump, control panel. We're just going to manually turn this on. Is it working? Can't see. Just get back out here. Oh, yes, it is. I can actually switch it off again. So control panel, switch it back off. So this is not automated in any way. I'm just manually putting a lot of oxygen in here. And there we go. Should be able to just breathe. Now, every time I walk out until we sort out the power. So basically, this is what I'm going to have to do now. I'm going to have to come back, vent out some oxygen manually, get that back into the suit. And we are pretty much, from the looks of things, breathing pure oxygen here. There's a little bit of nitrogen and CO2 in the air, but it's almost all oxygen right now. But let's continue and see if we can fix up the ship, because I think we did actually stumble onto a relatively decent ship here. Now, while I've got some air flowing in, I do want to see if I can find any of the other leaks. But I don't think there are other leaks, because I'm not seeing the pressure go down. So I think this is actually, we got really lucky here with this ship. So first things first, we need to sort out power. And where was that? Getting a little bit confused with which side I was meant to go. It's down here. And we need to look at... Actually, I'm thinking now, maybe I can just pressurize the whole ship using the other ship's power. So there's a couple missing here. We'll go into the build menu. What do we have? Power conduits. So we want to build one over there. There we go. We have power. So these alarms would be going off because it's not getting as much oxygen as it needs. Should we have a quick look here to see what's working since the nav station is online? So let's just see. No reactor, that's fine. Okay, so power is fine. We have a lot of power. We have O2 stories, and the life support and cooling is online, so it should all be okay, I guess, assuming that I have power everywhere. By the way, if you want to know how to recenter the camera, you just press the home key for that, if you did move it off of the main character. Let's just keep the power vision on so that we can just have a walk around and see what is working. Because the thing is, I'm not seeing why am I not seeing the pressure increasing? It should be increasing, unless some of these systems aren't working the way they should. We have some heaters. So actually, I'm just going to go ahead and manually vent some oxygen here. We'll go into the air pump. And we're just going to switch this on again. Then we'll just have a look to see. So oxygen's going up. Let's get some nitrogen going here as well. Switch this one on. So this is of course not the best way to do it, because you want to regulate it using all of these sensors. And it could just be that everything's not linked up in the right way now. This is an interesting ship though. Like, I don't know, where is the door for that area? Is there even a door here? But I do think, are we losing some of this pressure? I need to just have a walk around and see if I can see if the air is escaping anywhere. It doesn't look like air is escaping here, and the pressure does seem to be consistently increasing. So this is, you want to keep your eye up here basically. Okay, so I can't show you with the cursor, but if you look in the top right of the screen, you'll see that the pressure is going up. As long as that is happening, that should mean that the ship is airtight, because generally, if it's not, you should be losing pressure rapidly, even if there's just one hole in the ship, which is pretty realistic, because generally if there's any breach in a spacecraft, that of course means that you're going to get decompression. So I'm going to put these control panels back to auto, both of them. And I'm kind of assuming that, why do I have to walk all the way around for this one? Well, it doesn't really matter. So we'll put this back to auto, put this one back to auto as well. And I'm kind of hoping that we have enough pressure here that I can go ahead and take off my helmet. This will be pretty instant if there is an issue. Yeah, so I think we're fine. We're fine to work in the ship. Now we just need to figure out a way to automate this. And if that's done, I think we've got pretty much a working ship. So we'll go back to this. Now, it's been a while since I've done this. I think if you unscrew it, you can select the input. So which one is... So this is nitrogen. This is the nitrogen pressure alarm. So I guess it should be connected here. I mean, it could be connected to any one of these, but... Okay, so that's done. It's on auto. And is the nitrogen increasing? Yes, it is. So this is working. While that is showing that there is an issue with the nitrogen, it'll keep increasing the nitrogen. We'll do the same thing for the oxygen. And this is on auto. Unscrew it. Go to the input. We'll just put this into the O2 pressure alarm. And that should mean that basically everything will be auto-regulated right now. The O2 pressure is probably a little bit higher than it should be, I would imagine, but I don't think it matters too much. But basically, you can do that all the way throughout the ship. So everywhere you have these, you can make sure that it's linked up to the correct locations. Generally, of course, it makes sense to have the actual air pump close to the pressure alarm, because the further away it is, the harder it's going to be for it to auto-regulate. But there's a lot of pressure alarms around here, and there's a lot of pumps. So it is slightly larger ship. I mean, it's not massive. Let me switch this off. But I think there's more than enough here to easily regulate this ship. This ship is big enough that we could get a reactor up here, and we could get some... what is it? Heavy water and hydrogen, I think, is what the reactors use in this game. So we could get some of that in here as well. But again, this is more something that you're doing for fun at this point. You can just go back to K-Leg and recharge your batteries. And I think most of the activities that are currently available is close enough that you don't really ever have to do that. But yeah, I mean, I suppose that means that all of the ships are now survivable. Definitely a little bit more challenging. There is definitely a chance that you could die. So if you're starting out the game for the first time, I would probably take this ship that is already good to go from the start. But it was interesting trying to survive one that didn't have any oxygen supply, and that's this small. We have literally used up almost every inch of this container. I'm going to end this video here. Thanks for watching. If you do like this kind of content, as always, please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you for the next video.